Gentlemen, I bet you're wondering why I called you here after the roaring success of that Animatia meeting. Well, we have a new problem. Sky Striker has been the best deck for 2 years, and now, for the first time ever, it isn't. What will fill the void?
Well, sir, and again, just want to compliment your fantastic taste in sweaters, as always. We could let Spiral have a format.
Alright, it's possible. Johnson, what do you got?
Striker 2?
Striker 2. Johnson, you are a god-dang genius! I want this archetype printed tonight! I want vague Nazi iconography everywhere! We're doing it! Striker 2!
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. 'Twas the week before Duove, and all through the meta, we were all brewing with needle fiber, hoping things would get better. Instead of jumping face first into Union Carrier and Halka-Fibrax, however, we're going to spend tonight tinkering with an archetype that was once the apex predator. Will a single new link be enough to bring Ray back from spring break? Presenting Sky Striker. So here's the list, and look, we're playing some unfair stuff, yes, but I implore you to see beyond the mystic mine. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is a one-stop shop for deck building, deck uploading, card searching, and strategy articles, some of which are written by yours truly. I'm proud to represent them, and I encourage any player interested in deck building to check out their website at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now let's return to Ray. Sky Striker is an exceptionally powerful core of spells held together by the glue of an omni-searcher in Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, an extremely fair card that I expect will never be hit. Now, to take a big sip of water and open up the Forbidden List. Well, okay. Since Engage's exit, the deck has all but vanished, picking up a few early tops but never putting the pressure on the meta. Mostly, new builds of Striker either focus on Darkest Diabolos pseudo-hand loops, as people thought the deck would do before release, or on running your opponent out of answers to Mystic Mine. They're not the prettiest ways to win a duel, but when your most powerful monster has 1500 attack, you're willing to tribute your morality. Until now, Zeke, the Dark Attribute Striker, breathes new life into this ailing archetype. One of the biggest issues with Striker was that while taking your opponent's monsters via Widow Anchor or Shark Cannon was powerful, you needed them off your side of the field in order to activate the remainder of your spells, and the only way to do that was to permanently revoke your Ray-ity. Now it's a quick link into Zeke, which offers additional removal for problematic board positions, plus the ability to ease back into differently colored children afterwards. In essence, though it's lost its best card, Striker now has a way to resolve one of the very few nombos in this extremely efficient deck. Let's find out if it's enough to bring it within striking distance of playability. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our strike team. 3 Ray and 1 Rose. We're also on 3 Ash Blossom because I can't metagame to save my life. For spells, we're on a lot of them. 3 Area 0, 3 Shark Cannon, which gets a lot better in Zeke lists, Eagle Booster, Afterburner, Jamming Waves, Hercules Base, Hornet Drones, Multi-Roll, and Widow Anchor. After that is 3 Foolish Burial Goods, since we once again have access to 3 Kagari, Metal Foes Fusion, Rhoda, Avarice, which, you guessed it, Zeke enables, Upstart, Terraforming, Set Rotation, Double or Nothing, and 3 Mystic Mine. Finally, we've got 3 Only One, 3 Judgment, and a Metaverse. In the extra, we've got the Utopia Boys, Nightmares Unicorn and Phoenix, 2 Zeke, a Kena, 2 Hayate, 3 Kagari, and 3 Shizuku. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first game, if you can call it that, is up against Shaddoll Invoked. Unfortunately, a large percentage of your victories are going to play out exactly like this. We'll lead with a copy of Upstart Goblin, normal summon a copy of Rose to go into Shizuku, and then at end step activate Shizuku's effect for an Area 0. For turn, our opponent will draw a copy of Shaddoll Fusion, they'll activate it, we'll activate Solemn Judgment, and unfortunately, because that negates the activation, they'll just fire off a second one. They'll go into a copy of Construct, trigger its effect and Squamata on a new chain, setting a Dragon and a Reshaddoll Wendy. They'll activate Wendy's effect and Dragons, thankfully not sniping anything particularly important, just a Hornet Drones, to get a Hedgehog from deck, and then normal summon a copy of Ariel before proceeding to battle. They'll use Construct's effect to destroy our Shizuku, get in for 1000, link summon a copy of Cloth Heap, return this copy of Shaddoll Fusion to hand, and permit us to activate Set Rotation. On our turn, we'll flip up Mystic Mine. Fun and interactive. Alright, well, we'll forego Mystic Mine for the time being, but do keep in mind that about 30 to 50% of your wins are going to be on the back of that specific card. Our opponent for Game 2 is playing 3-Axis Burning Abyss, a Cherubini turbo deck with a lot of legs. They're going to lead with a copy of Instant Fusion for Fusionist of all things, and then normal summon a copy of Fiendish Rhino Warrior, make a Cherubini and activate Rhino Warrior's effect for a Graph and a Seer. Afterwards, they're going to activate Cherubini for a Sea Archiver, which will be specialed as the Crusadia Reclusia is special at link point. They'll overlay for a copy of Dante, and then link summon an Appaloosa, using Seer to get back Dante, and Dante to bring back Seer. Afterwards, they're going to set a copy of Super Polymerization and pass it back to us. For turn we draw, Widow Anchor might come in handy, but I don't want to burn it just yet. We're going to activate Area Zero's effect, finding off the top, nothing! Ugh. Well, we can jamming ways that set card and set 2, passing it back to our opponent. For turn they draw Foolish Burial, they're going to switch this Dante to attack and refuse to commit to anything, just doing enough damage to put us to about half. For turn we draw a copy of Foolish Burial Goods, we'll fire that off, it fetches an Ash, and I figure, okay, this Area Zero had better find something. We find off the top, oh, thank goodness, okay, a copy of Ray is exactly what we need. We're going to normal summon the Ray and then make a Kagari. We'll activate Kagari's effect for the Eagle Booster and go into Shizuku, and then at end step, when they negate our Shizuku effect, we can activate the Eagle Booster so it resolves, and we get a copy of Multi-Roll. We'll pop off next turn. For turn, our opponent draws a copy of Super Polymerization. They're going to normal Seer, which brings back this copy of Cherubini. Next, they'll activate Sea Archiver and Foolish Burial for a Destrudo. They'll activate Destrudo's effect, and we have the Shark Cannon. Still not looking fantastic. They're going to activate Cherubini, banish our copy of Shizuku. We trigger Ray. They activate Appaloosa, and then, of course, they're going to link summon a copy of Boral Sword. In battle phase, we'll take it with a copy of Widow Anchor. They will switch their Dante to defense position, and then we'll shuffle it back and take our Shizuku in the process. For turn, we draw Solemn Judgment. This should be the end of the game. We're going to activate Area Zero. Ooh, another Ray. Don't mind if I do. Next, we're going to link summon a Kagari, activate Kagari to get back this copy of Widow Anchor. We'll go into a Siege in order to banish our opponent's copy of Dante, then activate Widow Anchor to take their last remaining monster, destroying our copy of Area Zero for a little over lethal. We'll attack directly with this copy of Boral Sword and directly with Ray as well. So, it's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Salamangreat, and ooh, look at this grip. I may have spoken prematurely. This might be a Mystic Mine game after all. They're going to lead with a copy of Flame Buffalo, link summoning a copy of Balinx, chainlink 1 Buffalo, chainlink 2 Balinx. I love how this works. Next, they'll special summon a copy of Gazelle, and then activate Gazelle's effect, which we will Ash Blossom because we can't beat Roar or Rage. Next, they'll activate Falco's effect, set 2, and pass. For turn, we draw, okay, a Foolish Burial Goods. Let's fire that off. We send a copy of Metal Foes Fusion. We'll activate it. We draw a Hercules base. Okay, it's time for Mystic Mine. We pass it back to our opponent, and this is Yu-Gi-Oh! As Kazuki Takahashi intended. They'll link summon a copy of Sunlight Wolf and pass it back to us. We'll pass it back to them. They'll pass it back to... Oh, come on! Alright, well, they hard drew the Rage. They'll go ahead and set it. For turn, we draw a copy of Eagle Booster. We're going to pass it back to them, and at end step, they'll activate Rage, destroying one of our set cards and this Mystic Mine. For turn, they draw a Nibiru. Okay, well, at least they bricked once. They're going to activate Gazelle's effect for a Roar. They'll activate Roar's effect in Graveyard. They'll link summon a copy of Heat Leo, shuffling back our remaining spell. It is a set rotation, so we have one more shot at Mystic Mine this game, but unfortunately, we know they have not only a Rage, but also a Roar. For turn, we draw a copy of Ray. It's kind of late. We'll activate Mystic Mine and pass it back to our opponent. They don't even roar it. No respect at all. They'll Rage it, and I'll concede. So it's time for Game 2, and oh, thank God, a hand that does nothing against us. Nibiru, not very powerful, versus Sky Striker. We're going to lead with an Upstart Goblin, followed by an Area Zero, targeting our Ray. We'll chain Ray in response, going into Hayate and finding off the top. Ooh, a multi-roll. Don't mind if I do. We'll use multi-roll to destroy our copy of Area Zero because it's funny. We'll add it back with Kagari, and then at end step, we're going to activate the effect of Shizuku, shuffling our copy of Widow Anchor so that we have negation for our opponent's normal summon. For turn, our opponent's going to draw a copy of Pot of Desires. They'll lead with Silent Mining, which thankfully we have the Ash Blossom for. Afterwards, going to normal summon a copy of Lady Debug. We will Widow Anchor, but unfortunately for us, they have an enemy controller, so this will resolve. They'll tribute their monster and take our Shizuku in the process before activating Pot of Desires, and unfortunately not finding anything that doesn't need the normal summon. They'll pass back to us, and we draw a Hercules base. Well, let's push for damage as best we can in Sky Striker. We'll activate Area Zero, and we find a Hornet Drones. We'll Hornet Drones into a Kagari, adding back the Hornet Drones, then activating Hornet Drones to go into a copy of Zeke. That triggers the effect of Rose in hand. We'll special it, then we'll activate Zeke's effect in order to send this copy of Area Zero to the graveyard and special Ray from deck, walking into Nibiru! Okay, we'll bring back Ray and go into Hayate. We get in for 1500 at least, but all of our spells are going to be off next turn. We'll go into Shizuku and then activate Shizuku's effect. We'll activate multi-roll and yikes. Our opponent draws a Prohibit Snake. They'll go from Foxy into a Hita. They're going to activate the effect of Gazelle, bring back our copy of Kagari, make Heatleo #1 in order to shuffle our copy of Set Rotation. My finger is hovering the Mystic Mine button. They'll Foxy to destroy our copy of Multi-Roll, bring back Jack Jaguar, link summon another Heatleo. This banishes our copy of Eagle Booster, and then they decrease the attack of Shizuku. We'll activate Ray's effect. They'll attack our Ray. We'll activate Ray's second effect to go into another Shizuku and activate her effect at end step. Well, based on this board position, we might not even have to Mystic Mine. We're going to lead with a copy of Reinforcement of the Army, and then we'll link summon a copy of Seeger. We'll go ahead and banish our opponent's copy of Heatleo, which triggers Rose from Graveyard. We'll normal summon this copy of Ray, and oh, we've won with Utopia Double! So it's time for that all-important Game 3, and that sometimes you just draw better than your opponent. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Silent Mining. We have the Ash, and they pass turn. For turn, we draw a copy of Widow Anchor. We're going to normal summon a copy of Ray, go to battle phase, attack directly with Ray, then activate Ray's effect in order to go into Hayate, attack directly with Hayate, and then send a copy of Area 0 to the graveyard. In main phase 2, we'll Kagari back this Area 0, then activate Area 0's effect, targeting our set card. They're going to Ash Blossom. I'm completely fine with that. We'll go into multi-roll, set one card, then activate Shizuku's effect at end step, shuffling this copy of Shark Cannon. This should be lights out for our opponent. For turn, they draw a copy of Flame Buffalo. They normal summon it. I figure, we might as well Solemn Judgment, and they'll concede. So we're back with the deck, and wow, it performed admirably. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, it's extremely adaptable. Now, that's been the #1 reason to play Striker for a long time now, but it's good to know the deck can still flex. 2, Zeke is an incredible boost to the boys. It allows you to dispose of Floodgate monsters, mangle monsters that resist to removal, and push for lethal, all before linking back into Shizuku. And 3, there's definitely an argument for this as the best shell to utilize Mystic Mine, so get your kicks in while it's still legal. And the cons. 1, Zeke kind of solves a problem the deck doesn't have anymore. I mean, you couldn't print Banish Colossus any clearer on a card, and the ban list already dealt with our problematic purple friend. 2, basically every single person is prepared for Mystic Mine in some capacity. The wins you steal off the back of this card are fewer and farer between than at any other point in the game's history, and it doesn't help that spell removal's already so strong against you. And 3, man, I miss Engage. All in all, Zeked up Striker has the potential to be a potent rogue threat, but I don't think it'll be a power player post-Duov. So that's that. Thanks to my patrons, Protagify, Tyler Slacks, Mika Reichman, Crispy, Sir Tachyon, Dan the Man Hoban, Blech, Blake Root, Standards Objective, Jeff Leonard, Emperor Stove, TJ Steakhouse, Pro Yugi Dad, Picnic Blasted, Burrito Man 93, Fighting Fang Wong, Dottie Fillerup, Meatmoto 27, Adam Sundquist, Isaac Jackson, Second, Lucas Geertis, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, and others. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, and if you want to be part of the process, consider following me on Twitch as well. See you next time!